All right, kings, gentlemen, everyone else, welcome to yet another exciting episode of Williamsburg Hipster walking around through a place which is not Williamsburg. And today we're going to talk about Germany. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the German federal election, parliamentary election. Well, they call it parliamentary if you had got a Bundestag. Anyways, so it has been won by the center-right party, the Christian Democratic Union, led by a Mr. Friedrich Merz, right? And they won like 30% of the vote, and now we're going to go and form a government, coalition government, obviously, because you can't govern the country with 30% of the representatives. And the second strongest showing was by the Alternative for Deutschland. That's the pro-Russian, that's the Kremlin party. And unfortunately, they won something like 19% of the votes, so that's a significant chunk of the population which has been hoodwinked into voting for the destruction of Europe by a Mongol horde. And the other parties, like most of them, a coterie of left-wing lunatics. They didn't do so good, which is a good thing, I guess. Anyways, so what's going to happen right now is Friedrich Merz is going to be forming a coalition government, probably with the Social Democratic Party of Germany, and if hopefully not the Greens, but it may be inevitable. And within the Social Democratic Party, Olaf Scholz, the previous chancellor and previous leader of the Social Democratic Party, is probably on the outs, and he is likely to be replaced by Boris Pistorius, who was Olaf Scholz's Minister of Defense during the Scholz chancellorship, and let's say, he has a lot more backbone and a lot bigger balls than Olaf Scholz. Boris Pistorius was notoriously pro-Ukrainian. He was a hawk. He supported giving Taurus missiles to Ukraine, and even if there is a coalition, Pistorius is going to figure in that one. He's going to be the leading tenor of the Social Democratic Party, and that's how it's going to be, in all likelihood. Now, let's talk about what Merz campaigned on. While this channel is primarily focused on geopolitics, war in Ukraine, war in this, war in that, we are, of course, we have friends in Germany who tell us that the dominant issues of the campaign were energy and immigration. Germany, of course, has a very precarious energy situation after they shuttered their nuclear power plants and after the end of Russian gas, when, a little thing happened 3 years ago. The Germans are not in a good position when it comes to energy. Now, they have been able to make up the shortfall by refiring their coal plants, which, irony being, they shuttered their nuclear plants to protect the environment, which is, the irony has not been lost on people, and by buying American natural gas. But now that America has taken leave of its senses and elected a communist criminal to the presidency, it's no longer a reliable trading partner. And especially since the communist criminal decided to impose 25% tariffs on the European Union because, well, I don't think he understands. I think he understands economics. He just wants to destroy America. That's their business. Now, Merz has campaigned on renuclearizing Germany. He's going to bring back the German nuclear power plants. That's going to take time. It's not going to be done in a day. It's not a power switch. You don't just flick the switch and bring nuclear fusion back online. But, some people are saying 1, maybe 2 years. It's better to start now than dither and not start at all. And, of course, alternative sources will have to be figured out by then. I think France can pick up the slack. France never really shut down its nuclear power program, so they can actually carry Germany for a while at least. And, of course, the French nuclear program is expanding all the time, and it's advancing all the time. Just recently, they had a breakthrough in fusion reactions. We might actually see fusion reactors in our lifetime, which would solve a lot of these energy issues, I gotta say. And the second question is immigration. Now, the Christian Democratic Union of Germany, the German center-right party, is not the first European center-right party to embrace immigration restrictionism and even remigration to a certain degree. But it is certainly the largest one. It is fundamentally the central Christian Democratic or center-right party of Europe. All of the other center-right parties look to the CDU for guidance, which is weird because the CDU is not exactly the party of leadership. The first party to try that was, I believe, in Denmark. I don't know their name, but Denmark has more or less gotten the immigration thing under control. Now, it could always be better. And it's really taking this stance during the election that allowed Friedrich Merz to outflank the Alternative for Deutschland. Because that's the thing, I don't think that most Alternative for Deutschland people are voting for AfD because they hate Ukraine or hate Europe. I think they're doing it because of fear of immigration. I have seen some data, though, which indicates that AfD is really only winning in those districts which have not experienced immigration. This is not because they're not taking them, but because these are the economically blighted and in many cases environmentally blighted areas of Eastern Germany. The old Eastern Germany, the old Deutsche Demokratische Republik, right? Many of these areas have been depopulated because everyone halfway talented is moving to the cities. All the women are moving to the cities or to the west. Like there was this depressing statistic that the only places worth living in Eastern Germany are just Berlin and Dresden. Everywhere else is too blighted for human habitation in some sort. And these are economically dispossessed people who feel alienated from society, and with good reason, I would add. And this is why they embrace these demagogues who tell them that actually the way to prosperity is to return to the German Democratic Republic and become slaves of the Russians again. And to be fair to these people, it is true that the West Germans have not treated them with honor. The West Germans actually treated East Germany like a little bit like a Eastern European colony in the 90s and the 2000s, stripping it bare of resources, especially the human resources. But on the other hand, can you really blame someone from wanting to move away from their blighted hometown and to the crystal spires of Czech's notes, Dortmund? Yeah. Well, I'm not here to throw shade on people's life choices, but there is one way in which now Friedrich Merz can take his hawkish geopolitical stance. Okay, this is a guy who says we need to be independent from the United States. We need to have our own European defense industry. We need to rearm, and Germany definitely needs to rearm and remilitarize. That's going to be a hard sell in Germany because it's Germany, and we know what happens when the Germans get militaristic, but it is a necessity right now. And I would say the best way to fix this, to kill two birds with one stone, is to start opening munitions and weapons factories out east. Germany, the German CDU, it's not a center-right government, not a center-right party like the Americans or the English. They are German conservatives, right, which is less technocratic, more organic, more corporate, more Bismarck than I don't know, Reagan. Of course, this was not always the case. In the Merkel years, they really embraced this sort of globalist technocratic way of doing things, which is really just look at an Excel sheet without regard for the human factor. There are people saying that Merz is a return to form for German conservatism. They're going back to their fundamentally Bismarckian roots, which are not shy of throwing the weight of the state around in order to get shit done in the economy. Remember that it is Otto von Bismarck who established Europe's first welfare programs. Bismarck is like the ur-conservative politician of Europe. And so it is completely not beyond the ideological scope of the CDU, of the Christian Democratic Union of Germany, to collaborate with the German industrial giants, with Rheinmetall, with Krupp, with like all of the massive German companies, and rebuild the German defense industry in Eastern Germany, or rebuild. I mean, it's already massive, but expand it even more to service the entire continent of Europe. Rebuild it specifically in East Germany. Bring these high-paying jobs to the former Deutsche Demokratische Republik, to former East Germany, and thus undercut the AfD by reducing the alienation, by reducing the fundamentally resentment of West Germany and Western civilization that AfD voters feel, and which primarily motivates their votes. You got to think of these people like Rust Belt Trump voters. It's not that they it's not that they like Trump, it's that they hate the same people that Trump hates, and they hate them for petty reasons, animalistic reasons, and maybe we should hold them in contempt for that. But the reality is, we can fix this. We can fix this as a civilization by bringing back economic opportunities to Eastern Germany, right? And that's what I would advise Mr. Friedrich Merz to do. I would advise him to revitalize the Eastern German economy by expanding the military-industrial complex there, and thereby kill two birds with one stone. Rearm Germany, turn it into the arsenal of Europe, and reclaim the East from the communists at the same time. Godspeed, Mr. Merz. My German is too rusty to address you in the language of poets and thinkers, but here's hoping you do well by Germany and by Europe.